Hello everyone, welcome back to Chapter 1 of My Inner Life. The beginning. I will never forget the day I met Link. It was a warm spring day. I was on my usual trip back to Hyrule with my wagon of goods to sell in Hyrule Market at the annual Spring Festival. I have been a traveling merchant since I was 14. This is my 6th year returning to Hyrule. The last 2 years I was not able to return when Princess Zelda sent word of an evil presence in Hyrule. Please, show not tell. Then all contact was lost. For almost 2 years I tried to contact Princess Zelda. Desperately I kept trying to find out if she was okay. I was never too long without contact with my good friend. Then I was considering going to investigate, when one day word came that the peace had been restored to Hyrule due to the legendary Hero of Time. After catching up time with my old friend, I came to find out what really happened. Seems that a Gerudo named Ganondorf, an evil man from Gerudo Valley, desired the legendary Triforce, though the Triforce was only told in fairy tales to the children where I came from. Where do you come from? I don't know anything about you. Who are you? I was amazed to find out it really existed. She told me how she played with things she knew nothing about, and about how Ganondorf tricked the soon-to-be Hero of Time into unlocking the door to the Sacred Realm. I even noticed that Zelda was a little older than I. Last I saw her, she was 4 years younger than me. It was told to me that when Ganondorf went into the Temple of Time and into the Sacred Realm, time jumped ahead in Hyrule 70 years, yet only 2 years passed in my land and in the rest of the world. After the Hero of Time defeated the King of Evil, the hero was granted to either return to the past or to remain in the present time. He did not actually get to make that choice. He was kind of forced back. Playing with canon, wonderful. Since he chose to remain in the present, Zelda jumped ahead of me in age by 4 years. It seems that everyone in Hyrule jumped in age from the rest of the world. But now that peace was restored, life resumed in Hyrule. ... As I made my way down the desert trail that led to Hyrule, I began to think about whom this legendary Hero of Time was. That should be a different paragraph. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Already grammatical errors. That is the worst thing ever. I'm OCD. I'm a grammar Nazi. I hate grammatical errors. This is going to be wonderful. Okay. I was very interested in meeting this man. Princess Zelda never told me his name, but I was going to make it a point this time to finally meet Hyrule's hero. As I turned off the dirt trail and onto Hyrule Field, Hyrule Castle appeared in the distance. Dust and dirt kicked up behind the wheels of my wagon as it creaked along. Then as I came to the gates of Hyrule Castle, a familiar face appeared to greet me. I pulled back on the reins to make the horses come to a complete stop at the front gate, and realized that the person greeting me was my good friend, Princess Zelda. We don't know a single thing about you. We don't know a single thing about Princess Zelda. We don't know a single thing about what you look like, what your personality is, even what your name is, even though it's been told to us in the introduction. If this is a standalone work, we wouldn't know who the hell you are. We don't know where you come from. We don't know anything about you. All you've done is tell us a bunch of shit that doesn't really matter. If you could just tell us about your character, maybe you won't seem like a Mary Sue. Anyway. I've been a good friend of the royal family ever since my first arrival in Hyrule 6 years ago for Hyrule's annual Spring Festival. Ever since the first day I met the princess, I have been one of her closest friends. It's very quickly to become a close friend. I was even considered part of the royal family. After I climbed down from my perch on the wagon, I ran over to Zelda and hugged her. "Hello, Princess Zelda, my good friend. Yes, it is good to see you. How have you been?" Looking at her, I could tell she was happy to see me. No shit. "Oh, it is so good to see you again, my friend. Come, come, father is waiting to see you." Leaving my wagon to be tended to by the stable hands, I followed Zelda through the marketplace and to the gates that led to the castle. As we approached the castle gates, I saw some of the same guards I have seen in the past few years. Saluting to Princess Zelda and me was a guard named Perino. I met him a few years back during one of my first visits to Hyrule. He was one of the guards that befriended me the first time I arrived. He smiled a friendly smile as we passed by. You haven't described anything. You literally described nothing. There's like one instant where you described the dust being kicked up behind the wheels of your wagon, which is a good sentence. You don't describe anything else. You just said, oh yeah, there's a guy named Perino. He's going to be here for like 3 seconds and be gone. We don't know anything about him. We don't know, what he looks like. We don't know who he is. He's just a guard. He's a guard. He's a guard. That's all that really matters. He's a guard. It's nice to see you again, Mistress Jenna, he said as he waved. So her name is Jenna. Okay, we learned this now. As I smiled back, I thought to myself how good it was to be back again. We went through the front gate and made our way towards the palace garden. Upon approaching the gates leading to the garden, another familiar face appeared to greet me. As we walked closer, I realized that was the face of Zelda's caretaker, Impa of the Sheikahs. As I walked over to Impa, she turned to fully face me, and a small smile crossed her face. It's good to see you again, my friend. How has life been treating you? Impa asked and put a hand on my shoulder. How do you know all these people? We should see you meeting these people. We don't want you to just tell us that. Oh yeah, I know everyone. By the way, I've been in for like several years. I know everyone here. No story about how I met them. There's no, I just gotta know them. They're just kind of there, and I just gotta know them. It's all about me. Okay, onward. Oh fine, nothing out of the ordinary. I had to chase some thieves off the first night that I was on my way here, though after some facing time off, I was able to chase them away with my bow. Then I made a big grin, as I remembered the looks on the thieves' faces when I rained arrows on them. Well, it seems that with the abilities you possess, you should have no problem keeping your possessions safe. With another smile, Impa gestured for us to go into the garden. That is where I met him. The man that took my heart. As we walked into the garden, I saw a young man in green with his back facing us, polishing a rather odd sword. As I watched him, I began to notice something about the sword. It had a rather odd shape on the hilt. The hilt was blue, with the top of the hilt looking like a fish's tail. The sword looked rather strangely familiar. I leaned over to Princess Zelda and asked her who the young man was. That is the legendary hero of time. His name is Link, Zelda replied. So, I know in canon, it's not really explicitly said, and I'm not a big fan of Zelda, just to let y'all know right now, not my cup of tea. I am a Malin shipper, but mostly because I consider myself more of a Malin-esque person than a Zelda-esque person, so of course I ship Malin with Link, because I don't like putting original characters into things. I think it's weird. There seems to be no jealousy from Zelda at all here. She doesn't care. I mean, looks like she doesn't even feel anything for Link. It's just like, okay, he's kind of here, and I'm kind of here, and yada, yada, yada. We're just gonna let Jenna fall for him. Alright, my eyes grew as big as saucers as I turned to look back at him. You mean he is the hero of time you told me about? The one who saved Hyrule? And that must be the legendary Master Sword he is holding? That's not a question. Okay. Zelda nodded yes. Just then Link turned to look at us. And with one look at his face, my heart sank into my chest. He was the most gorgeous man I had ever laid eyes on. At that very moment, I fell in love. His eyes were like looking down into deep blue pools of water, his lips firm, his ears long and sexy. Beautiful blonde hair that parted in the middle, and his body was so tight and muscular that it took my breath away, and I was spitting. When our eyes met, I blushed and swiftly looked away. He approached me and took my hand in his, gently kissed it, and asked, "Who might this beautiful young lady be?" I turned my head back to greet him, and as our eyes met again, I blushed. "My name is Jenna. I'm a traveling merchant from the great Libyan coast. My village is there. I have been a friend of the royal family for a long time, and I come every year to Hyrule's annual spring festival." Yeah, we already know all that. You don't need to tell. It's presumed that you tell him that at some point. And plus, okay, Link just became a sex object. Link is a sex object. Woo! Yay! There's no characterization there at all. Okay. He looked into my eyes and smiled. Watching him smile made my heart pound in my chest. He again took my hand in his, kissed it again, and spoke. "Nice to meet you, Mistress Jenna. You are as beautiful as a winter rose," he said as he stared at me with his enchanted blue eyes. Thank you," I stammered as I blushed again. "What are you doing tonight?" he asked with a soft smile. Stunned, not believing my ears as I turned and I looked directly into his eyes again.